Did you want some? I suppose. What is new? We Khajiit have good night vision, and I'm somewhat ashamed to admit it, but standing here on this night, I'm reminded of a time when I used that vision to my advantage in a not so honest way. I was in Morrowind, a land not exceedingly accepting of Khajiit, you see, and I had run across a curious shop on the back streets of Balmora, selling exotic odds and ends, and among them was a certain book, a tome on the dragon tongue, this book, and one which I had never run across before. My interest was thoroughly piqued. I cannot tell if you're mocking me or not. Regardless, I had been studying the use of the dragon tongue for some time, and the shopkeep promised the text would help me learn to speak the voice with but a reed. However, he demanded some 10,000 septums for the privilege of reading it, and, well, my pockets were a bit light, yes? Traveling is not cheap, you see. I was unable to negotiate the price down with the moon's cursed Dunmer, and so I left empty-handed. That was not the end of it, though. Some weeks later, when Master and Secunda were both in their new phase, I paid the shop another visit, under the veil of dark this time, and made the purchase at a price I felt was much more appropriate. Goodness, no. I left him every coin I had, along with a note explaining my motives. I am not a heathen. I just needed a book. Badly. Nonetheless, fearing reprisal, I was halfway to Nices by daybreak, and on a boat to Skyrim by sundown. Best not to take any chances, yes? Yes, what is it? Every book has its merit. While in Bruma once, I read The Man-Bulls of Cyrodiil by Hefjon Longwinter, all about the province's wild minotaur populations. Interesting book. People ascribe mythological qualities to them, but the book takes great pains to say they are not in fact supernatural creatures. Nonetheless, stories of minotaurs with wings, murderers keeping them in their basements, people taking them for mates, all kinds of outlandish tales. The author posits that the original minotaurs may date back to the time of Saint Alessia and her demigod lover Morihaus, before the Empire's origin. It is said Morihaus had the ability to change forms into that of a bull. I am skeptical, but who's to say what exactly he was? Much less what his offspring would look like, yes? Regardless, the creatures themselves, though usually passive, are brutishly strong. If we ever encounter any of them, exercising caution would be advisable, yes? I would rather not be gored, or utterly snapped in half anytime soon. So, you are a companion. I have heard some rumors about the higher-ups in the organization. Rather beastly rumors, you might say. I suppose. What is it? What is new? A bunch of barbarians, these companions. I have no doubt the companions of Ysgramor served a purpose in Skyrim's distant past. But now? They are a bunch of ruffians, using brute force to solve problems that a mudcrab would have a brain could handle more amicably. They do seem to have their hearts in the right place, though, so perhaps I shouldn't be too critical. After all, if your only skill in life is clubbing things to death, I suppose it is only natural that you make a job of it. Obviously, yes. Of course I do. And what I was saying before, it obviously was meant for... not for you. You're the exception that proves the rule, yes? Yes. And anyway, the companions are a wonderful bunch of people. Model citizens, the pinnacle of Whiterun. If anyone tries to... Every book has its merit. I'm up for another chat about the dance and fire. Alright then, which book should we discuss? Yes, alright. And of course, his luck being what it is, a massive thunderstorm descends on him as well. So heavy that he gets caught in a mudslide and thrown back into the river. Getting out, Scotty spies a Bosmer ship sailing by. They pick him up, and he sails downstream with them to Sylvanar. This is the heart of Valenwood, Sylvanar. It is where the Bosmer's leader resides, and it is he with whom Scotty must speak to secure his contract. A full week's voyage, and at last Scotty arrives. And after everything he has been through, the death, fire, voracious demons, murderous Khajiit, Scotty heads straight for the finest inn in the city. He's earned it. And who do you think he finds at the inn, stuffing his face with a leg of meat? Judas, the very man who summoned him into this nightmare of a journey, sitting there like everything is business as usual. But that will have to wait for another day, and another book. Yes. What did you need? Did you want some? I suppose. What is new? So, I've been thinking about something, and I figured now's as good a time as any. If I ask you a question, can I trust you to tell me the truth?
What a waste.
What do you think of me? Yes, this is what I think too. I mean, what is not to love? Intelligent, handsome, a lovely black mane, well-read, and good with his hands. Not to mention my debonair voice, and my charming smile. Okay then, just checking. Thank you. What is it, my man? Every book has its merits, if you... Not exactly a book, but I read a transcript of an interview with the great Khajiit tapestry maker, Cherim, some time back. Specifically, the interview covered Cherim's work on a tapestry depicting a historic battle in the 5-year war between the Khajiit and the Bosmer. And it reminded me of the great pleasure I have had to see a few of Cherim's works in person. They are every bit as resplendent as the interview makes them seem. Vibrant, realistic, and at the same time stylized to fit the medium. What the interview only briefly hints at is how organic the scenes Cherim crafts are. Sometimes hundreds of soldiers, and Cherim. He has taken care to give each one life, their own expression, their own body language, their own spirit and thoughts. It is quite remarkable. If you ever happen across one of his tapestries, I highly recommend you take the time to study its intricacies. I suppose. What is... One of my research interests lies in uncovering the history of catfolk in Tamriel and other lands across the world. We have quite a diverse history, but the texts are scattered, so compiling it has been a challenge. Would you care to hear what I found? Alright, let me think. I have seen references in the literature to a great white cat, a warrior renowned for his skill with a double-headed axe. He could almost be a Khajiit based on what I have read, except for the repeated references I have seen calling him a planeswalker. Whatever that is. I am not sure. No name was mentioned in the references, and so I cannot gauge his race by its etymology. He certainly shares a past as beset by suffering as the Khajiit people do. The death of his brother, and later of his mate, rejected by his clan. A reminder, I suppose, that no matter how strong we are, no matter our prowess in battle, our hearts are always vulnerable.